Before you dive into this gripping tale, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next jaw-dropping story. And remember to smash that like button if you enjoy what you hear. The unveiling truth, a billionaire's secret, a barista's heartbreak, and a love forged in fire. The young woman stumbled into the opulent boutique, her clothes drenched, a small puddle forming on the pristine Italian marble. "I am so sorry," whispered Lily, her voice trembling. "Get out, you tramp!" snapped Tiffany from behind the counter, her arms crossed, eyes narrowed in sheer disgust. "What are you doing here? You're soaking the entire floor." Lily's heart hammered against her ribs. Rain still streamed from her soaked blonde hair, her simple white dress clinging to her shivering frame. The other customers in the luxurious boutique stared, whispering, their smiles mocking. "I just need to know if there's a place nearby where I can print some documents," Lily stammered, hugging herself, trying to control her shakes. Tiffany let out a dry, cruel laugh. "Seriously? This store is for people who can afford our pieces, not for people like you. Look at how you're dressed. You look like a homeless person. Please, it's an emergency. I just need." "I don't care what you need," Tiffany interrupted, raising her voice so the entire store could hear. "We sell dresses here that cost more than you make in a year. Do you really think you belong here?" Lily's cheeks burned with shame. She knew her clothes were modest, her shoes worn, and her appearance didn't fit this world of luxury. But she had never been humiliated so publicly. "I'm not here to buy anything," she mumbled, her voice cracking. "I was just asking about, and I'm telling you to get out before I call security." Tiffany strode toward her, her steps menacing. "This is an exclusive boutique, not a shelter for vagrants. You're going to scare away my real clients." Lily felt tears mixing with the raindrops on her face. Everything had gone wrong today. First, the university printer broke down just as she needed to submit her final portfolio, the one that would determine if she kept her academic scholarship. Then, that terrible storm unleashed itself, soaking her completely as she ran desperately through downtown Portland, looking for help. And now this, the biggest humiliation of her life, in front of a bunch of strangers who looked at her like trash. "Look, rich girl," an older woman in a waiting chair said disdainfully. "You'd better go where you belong. There's nothing for you here." "Exactly," Tiffany added, feeling the crowd's support. "See? Even my clients realize it. You have no business being here." Lily took a step back, feeling her world collapse. She had worked for years cleaning tables at the Golden Bean Cafe after classes to help her grandma Rose with household expenses. She had studied late into the night to keep her grades high. She had sacrificed nights out with friends, new clothes, even entire meals, all to achieve her dream of graduating and having her own graphic design studio. And now, a broken printer threatened to destroy all her efforts. "Please," she tried one more time, her voice barely audible. "Just tell me if you know of any place nearby where." "That's enough. I'm calling security right now." Tiffany picked up the store phone. "I cannot allow a person like you to scare away my clients." It was at that exact moment a calm, yet firm, male voice interrupted the scene. "Excuse me, miss. Do you need help?" Everyone turned to the voice. A man in his early 30s had appeared from the back of the store. He wore a light blue shirt and jeans. Nothing flashy, but there was something in his presence that commanded immediate respect. His brown eyes showed genuine warmth as he looked directly at Lily. Tiffany frowned, annoyed by the interruption. "Sir, this is none of your business. This person has no business here, and I was about to—" "I'm asking her, not you," the man said, not taking his eyes off Lily, completely ignoring Tiffany. Lily froze. After so much humiliation, someone was treating her like a human being. Her eyes met his, and for the first time all afternoon, she felt she could breathe. I just need to find a place to print some documents," she whispered. "It's for the university. It's very important." The man nodded with understanding. "Of course. I know a perfect place 2 blocks from here. May I accompany you?" Tiffany turned red with indignation. Hey, who do you think you are, coming in here to? I'm someone who knows how to treat people with respect, he replied without turning to look at her. Something you clearly never learned. Silence fell over the boutique. The customers exchanged nervous glances, and Tiffany's mouth opened and closed several times, unable to articulate a word. Lily felt as if a huge weight had been lifted from her shoulders. For the first time in her life, someone had stood up for her. "What's your name?" the man asked with a gentle smile. "Lily," she replied, still unable to believe what was happening. "Nice to meet you, Lily. I'm Alex." He extended his hand to her. "And don't worry about these documents. We'll solve it together." What would you have done if you were Lily? Would you have accepted Alex's help? Or would you have been too embarrassed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 2 weeks had passed since that rainy day at the boutique, and Lily still couldn't believe her luck. Not only had she managed to print her portfolio on time and keep her scholarship, but she had met Alex, a man who seemed to have stepped out of her most impossible dreams. "Today's coffee is especially good," Alex commented as he sat at his usual table at the Golden Bean Cafe, smiling at Lily, who approached with the coffee pot. "It's the same recipe as always," she replied with a shy laugh, feeling those butterflies in her stomach as always when he arrived. "I guess you just have really good taste." "I definitely have good taste," Alex said, looking at her in a way that made Lily blush, especially when choosing coffee shops. For these 2 weeks, Alex had appeared religiously every afternoon at the cafe. At first, Lily thought it was a coincidence, but soon she realized he was coming specifically to see her. Their conversations had evolved from simple polite exchanges to deep talks about dreams, goals, and life. "How are the design projects going?" Alex asked as she poured his coffee. "Good, thanks to you. I was able to submit that portfolio on time." Lily sat across from him during her break, something that had already become routine. "In fact, I'm working on something new. I want to design a complete identity for a local business." Alex's eyes lit up. "Tell me more." "It's a dream I've had since I was a little girl." Lily fidgeted with the napkin, a little nervous to share something so personal. "I want to have my own design studio someday. I want to show that it doesn't matter where you come from, but where you're going." Alex leaned forward, genuinely interested. "And what kind of clients would you like to have?" "Small family businesses, entrepreneurs, who are just starting out like me." Her eyes shone with passion. "People who have great ideas but not a lot of budget. I want to help them look professional without having to spend a fortune." Alex felt something stir in his chest. Lily's passion, her generosity in wanting to help others who were in her same situation, was something he had never seen in the women of his social circle. "That's beautiful, Lily, and I'm sure you'll achieve it." "Do you really think so?" she asked, with a vulnerability that tugged at Alex's heart. "I know," he replied with total conviction. "You have something special, your talent, your determination, and your heart." Lily felt her breath catch. No man had ever spoken to her like that before. Alex didn't try to impress her with money or expensive gifts. Instead, he genuinely listened to her, valued her opinions, treated her as an equal. "Alex," she said softly, "can I ask you something?" "Of course. Why did you come to help me that day at the store? You didn't even know me." Alex was silent for a moment, carefully choosing his words. He couldn't tell her he had been observing the entire scene from the security cameras in his private office. He couldn't confess that he was the owner of that chain of boutiques and that he had gone personally to meet the employee who had humiliated a customer. "Because everyone deserves a chance," he finally said. "And because I saw something special in you from the very first moment." Lily felt her heart race. "You're different from all the men I've met," she whispered. "You don't try to impress me with material things. You make me feel valuable for who I am." Alex extended his hand across the table and took hers. The contact sent an electric current through Lily's entire body. "Because you are valuable, Lily, more than you imagine." Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories like this. Your support helps us create more content you'll love. Meanwhile, at the Elite Threads boutique, Tiffany was confusedly reviewing a memo that had arrived that morning from Human Resources. It was the third in 2 weeks. All personnel are required to treat all customers with the utmost respect, regardless of their appearance or economic situation. She read aloud, frowning. Since when does the company care so much about this? She muttered. Tucking the paper into the drawer along with the other two she had received about improving customer service and inclusion policies. Back at the coffee shop, Alex had invited Lily for a walk downtown after her shift. It was something they had done several times already, and Lily looked forward to it every day. Don't you ever get bored of this? Lily asked as they walked through Botero Plaza. I mean, going out with me to such simple places? Alex stopped and looked at her intently. Lily, these have been the best moments of my life in a long time. But you're surely used to, I don't know, fancier restaurants, more exclusive places. Alex felt a pang of guilt. If only she knew he could take her to the most exclusive restaurants in the city, that he had a completely different life than the one he had shown her. Places don't matter when you're with the right person, he said, taking her hand. With you, I could be anywhere, and it would be perfect. It would be. Lily stopped and looked at him, her eyes sparkling. Do you really think so? Seriously. They stood in the middle of the plaza, surrounded by Botero's sculptures and the bustle of the city. But for them, nothing else existed but that moment. Alex, Lily began to say something, but stopped. What were you going to say? Nothing, it's silly. Tell me. Lily took a deep breath. I think I'm falling in love with you. Alex felt as if the world stopped. He had expected to hear those words. He had longed for them. But now that he had them in front of him, he also felt the enormous weight of his lie. Lily, he began, but she continued speaking. I know we've only known each other for 2 weeks, and I know you probably think I'm silly, but I've never felt anything like this. No one has ever treated me the way you treat me. Alex pulled her close and kissed her softly. It was a kiss full of tenderness, of unspoken promises, but also of the despair of knowing that everything was built on a lie. When they parted, Lily had tears in her eyes. I'm falling in love with you too, Alex whispered against her forehead. More than I thought possible. That night, as Lily floated home on a cloud, Alex walked towards his apartment in the city's most exclusive sector, carrying the weight of his deception. He had wanted to tell her the truth so many times, but every time he saw how happy Lily was with her normalcy, he couldn't ruin it. He took out his phone and dialed his assistant's number. Robert, I need you to do me a favor. I want more information about the inclusion policies in our stores, and specifically about an employee named Tiffany Carter. Any problems, Mr. Sterling? Let's just say I want to make sure we're treating all our customers the right way. After hanging up, Alex stood by his apartment window, looking at the lights of Portland. For the first time in his life, he had found something real, something authentic. But how could he build a true relationship on such a big lie? He knew that sooner or later, he would have to tell Lily the truth. The question was whether their love would be strong enough to survive his deception. Think about it. If you were Alex, would you have confessed the truth right then and there? Or would you have kept your secret, hoping to find the right moment? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. A week later, Alex and Lily walked hand in hand through Forest Park as the sun set behind the buildings of the Pearl District. It had become their favorite ritual, aimlessly wandering, talking about everything and nothing, feeling as if they were the only two people in the world. Tell me something no one else knows about you, Lily said, swinging her hand intertwined with his. Alex felt his heart race. It was the perfect opportunity to tell her the truth, but the words got stuck in his throat. What do you want to know? He asked, dodging the question. I don't know, something personal. Your fears, your secret dreams, whatever. Alex stopped by a bench and looked directly into her eyes. I'm afraid of losing you, he confessed, and it was the most honest truth he had spoken in weeks. Lily felt her heart melt. Why would you lose me? Because sometimes I feel like I'm too good to be true, like you're a dream I'm going to wake up from. Lily moved closer to him and placed her hand on his cheek. Alex, I'm the one who can't believe someone like you noticed someone like me. Don't say that, he protested. You're incredible, Lily. You're smart, talented, beautiful. I come from a humble neighborhood. I work serving coffee, and I can barely pay for my studies. She interrupted him. You clearly come from a better position than me. You could be with any woman you wanted. Alex felt another pang of guilt. If only she truly knew what his position was. Money isn't what matters to me in a relationship, he said, trying to sound convincing. I know, and that's why I fell in love with you, Lily smiled. You've never tried to impress me with expensive things. You take me to simple places, you treat me as an equal. That's something I've never experienced. Alex closed his eyes for a moment. Every word from Lily was like a knife in his heart. She loved him precisely for the lie he had built. Lily, there's something I need to tell you. What? Alex looked at her intently, gathering all his courage. I also come from a humble family, he lied, hating himself for doing so. I work very hard for what I have. I don't want you to think I'm different from you. Lily felt a wave of relief and love. Seriously, my parents taught me to value people for who they are, not for what they have. It was a half-truth. His parents, who had died in an accident when he was 25, had taught him those values before he inherited the family empire. But for years he had lost sight of those teachings, until he met Lily. I love you even more for that, Lily whispered, kissing him softly. Meanwhile, at the Elite Threads boutique, Tiffany received her 4th corporate memo of the week. This time it was even more specific. It has been detected that some employees are not following the new inclusion policies. Surprise evaluations will be carried out to ensure compliance. She read with growing annoyance. What the hell is going on in this company? She muttered, tucking the paper away in frustration. They've never been so strict with this nonsense. That night, Alex arrived at his apartment and poured himself a whiskey. He picked up his phone and called Robert, his personal assistant. How are the store evaluations going? Good, Mr. Sterling. We've documented several cases of discriminatory treatment by manager Tiffany Carter. Customers have complained about her contemptuous attitude toward people of humble appearance. Perfect. Keep documenting everything. We'll be taking action soon. May I ask why the sudden interest in this particular employee? Alex was silent for a moment. Let's just say I've received first-hand information about her behavior. After hanging up, Alex thought about the conversation he had had with Lily that afternoon. He had almost told her the truth. The words had been there, on the tip of his tongue, but fear had paralyzed him. How do you explain to the woman you love that you've lied to her from day one? How do you tell her that you are exactly the type of rich and powerful man she despises? How do you confess that you could buy and sell her entire world without thinking twice? But at the same time, Lily had changed him. For the first time in years, he had woken up every morning wanting to be a better person. He had started to genuinely care about his employees, about the people his company affected. Lily had given him back the humanity he had lost in the business world. Do you think Alex's decision to hide his identity was understandable or completely wrong? Cast your vote in the comments. The next day, Lily was at the coffee shop finishing her shift when Alex arrived earlier than usual. Everything all right? She asked, noticing something different in his expression. Lily, what would you do if you found out someone you love has lied to you about something important? The question took Lily by surprise. What do you mean? It's hypothetical, Alex quickly clarified. I was just wondering, do you think a lie can be forgiven if it comes from a place of love? Lily thought for a moment. It depends on the lie, she finally said. If it's something they lied about to protect me or because they were afraid, I could understand that. But if it's something that completely changes who that person is, I don't know if I could forgive it. Alex felt his blood run cold. What kind of lie couldn't you forgive? A lie about their identity, about who they really are. Lily was categorical. I hate falsehood, Alex. I've met too many people who pretend to be something they're not. Honesty is the most important thing to me in a relationship. Alex nodded slowly, feeling the trap he had built for himself closing in. You're right, he mumbled. Honesty is fundamental. That night, as they walked through downtown Portland, Lily noticed Alex was quieter than usual. Are you sure you're okay? Yeah, just thinking. About what? Alex stopped under a streetlight and took her hands. About how lucky I am to have you in my life. Lily smiled and stood on tiptoes to kiss him. I feel lucky too. I didn't know I could be so happy. As they kissed under the golden light of the streetlight, with the city noise as background music, Alex knew he had gone too far to turn back. His lie had grown so big that confessing it now would destroy everything they had built. He decided he would find a way to make it work. Somehow, he would keep his two worlds separate and protect what he had with Lily. He didn't know that the next day, his carefully constructed world would begin to crumble. Lily finished tidying the corner table and looked at the clock. 2 in the afternoon. Alex always arrived at 3, but today she had decided to surprise him. She had prepared his favorite lunch, chicken sancocho with rice, just like her Grandma Rose used to make it. Are you leaving early today? Marta, her coworker, asked. Yes, I'm going to surprise Alex at his office. Lily smiled as she took off her apron. I've never visited him at work. And do you know where it is? He gave me the address of the building where he has meetings, the downtown corporate tower. Lily left the cafe with the lunch in a thermal bag, her heart full of excitement. After 3 weeks of dating Alex, she felt it was time to learn more about his life. He was always so reserved about his work, only telling her he worked in business administration. The bus ride to the corporate center took her 40 minutes. As she approached the imposing glass and steel building, Lily felt a little nervous. It was a very elegant place, much more than she had imagined. She approached the lobby and asked the security guard, "Excuse me, I'm looking for Alex Sterling." The guard looked her up and down, noticing her simple clothes and thermal bag. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, it's a surprise. I'm his girlfriend." The guard frowned but checked his list. "Alex Sterling, 20th floor? I don't know. Can you check please?" After making a call, the guard nodded. 20th floor, office 2015. But he's in an important meeting. "No problem, I'll wait." Lily smiled and took the elevator. The 20th floor was impressive. Everything was glass and marble with a spectacular view of Portland. Lily sat in the waiting room, feeling a little intimidated by the elegance of the place. "How can I help you?" asked a very elegant receptionist. "I'm waiting for Alex Sterling. I'm his girlfriend." The receptionist looked at her with obvious surprise. "His girlfriend?" "Yes, I brought him lunch. He's in a very important meeting with the directors of the Elite Threads chain. Could take hours." Lily felt a strange pang in her stomach upon hearing that name. Elite Threads? The boutique chain? Yes, Mr. Sterling is the owner. Lily's world stopped. "Excuse me? Mr. Alex Sterling, owner and president of the Elite Threads chain. Didn't you know?" Lily froze. The receptionist's words bounced in her head without meaning. Alex, owner of Elite Threads? The same store where she had been humiliated? "I think there's a misunderstanding," Lily murmured. "Alex works in administration. He doesn't own anything." The receptionist looked at her with pity. "Miss, Alex Sterling is one of Portland's most important businessmen. He inherited the company from his father 5 years ago." Lily felt the walls closing in on her. She abruptly stood up from the chair, dropping the bag with lunch. I need to go." She ran towards the elevator, pressing the button desperately. When the doors closed, she leaned against the cold metal wall, trying to process what she had just heard. Alex was the owner of Elite Threads, the owner of the store where Tiffany had humiliated her, the owner of the company that represented everything she hated. Exclusion, discrimination, classism. The elevator doors opened in the lobby, and Lily ran out. She needed fresh air, she needed to think. She sat on a park bench across from the building, her hands shaking. Everything had been a lie. Everything. Alex's words echoed in her head. "I come from a humble family. Money doesn't matter to me. My parents taught me to value people." Lies. All lies. As she was lost in her thoughts, she saw a group of men leave the building. Her heart stopped when she recognized Alex among them. He wore an expensive suit she had never seen him in, carried an elegant leather briefcase, and walked with the confidence of someone accustomed to power. She saw him get into a sleek black Mercedes-Benz. One of the men approached the window. "Mr. Sterling, tomorrow we have the meeting with the investors for the new Seattle headquarters." "Perfect, Robert. And make sure the report on the downtown Plaza boutique is ready. We need to make decisions about the staff." Lily felt her stomach churn. He had been making decisions about Tiffany, about the store where she had been humiliated, and he had never told her anything. Alex started the car and drove away, completely unaware that the woman he loved had seen him transform into someone she didn't recognize. Lily sat on that bench until the sun began to set. Her mind was a whirlwind of emotions. Betrayal, humiliation, anger, pain. She had believed Alex was different. She had believed she had finally found someone who valued her for who she truly was. But it had all been a game. A rich man playing normal to have fun with a poor girl. How long would the farce have lasted? How long would Alex have kept up his act? And worst of all, had she just been entertainment for him? An exotic experience before he returned to his world of luxury. When she finally got home, her grandma Rose was waiting for her in the kitchen. "My dear, what's wrong? You look like a ghost." Lily collapsed into her grandmother's arms and cried as she hadn't cried in years. "Grandma, I fell in love with a lie." Rose hugged her tightly, without asking questions, knowing that when Lily was ready, she would tell her everything. That night, Lily stayed awake staring at the ceiling of her small room. The next day, she would have to face reality. Alex would arrive at the cafe as always, smiling as if nothing had happened, maintaining his humble man facade. But she could no longer pretend she didn't know the truth. She had trusted him completely, had given him her heart unreservedly, and he had deceived her from the very beginning. What hurt most was not just the lie, but realizing that she had never truly known him. The Alex she had fallen in love with didn't exist. He was just a mask a rich man had worn for fun. At 4 a.m, Lily made a decision. She couldn't face Alex. She couldn't pretend nothing had happened. It was too humiliating, too painful. At dawn, she went to the cafe and spoke to the manager. "I quit," she said simply. "What, Lily, are you sure?" "Completely sure." She gathered her few belongings and left without looking back. She didn't want to be there when Alex arrived at 3 p.m, expecting to find her as always. Let him realize what it felt like when someone disappeared from your life without explanation. Can you imagine Lily's pain? What would be your first reaction if you discovered such a betrayal? Tell us in the comments. Alex arrived at the Golden Bean Cafe at 3 o'clock sharp, as he had religiously done for the past 3 weeks. He had a smile on his face and a small surprise in his bag. He had bought a graphic design book that he knew Lily had been wanting to read. "Good afternoon," he greeted Marta, who was cleaning the tables. "Where's Lily?" Marta looked at him with an uncomfortable expression. "Alex, Lily quit this morning." "What?" Alex's heart stopped. "What do you mean she quit?" "She arrived very early. She talked to the manager and left. She didn't give any explanation." Alex felt as if he had been punched in the stomach. "She didn't say anything else. She didn't leave any message. Nothing. She just picked up her things and left." She seemed very upset. Alex rushed out of the cafe. His mind raced trying to understand what had happened. The night before they had talked on the phone and everything had been normal. Lily had sounded happy, excited to see him the next day. What could have changed in one night? He drove directly to the Manrique neighborhood, to the modest building where Lily lived with her grandmother. He ran up the stairs 2 at a time and knocked on the door desperately. Grandma Rose opened the door and looked at him with a serious expression. "Mrs. Rose, I need to talk to Lily. It's very important." "She doesn't want to see you," the old woman replied firmly. "Please, just 5 minutes. I need to know what happened." "What happened is she found out who you really are." Rose looked at him intently. "And I don't mean your name." Alex felt his heart sink. Somehow Lily had discovered the truth. Mrs. Rose, I can explain. You don't have to explain anything to me, young man. But you do to my granddaughter, and she's not ready to hear you. Can I at least write her a letter? Rose sighed. You can try, but I don't guarantee she'll read it. Alex spent that night writing a 10-page letter, explaining everything. Why he had lied, how he had fallen in love with her, how much she meant to him. He left it at Rose's house the next day. A week passed. Lily didn't reply. He wrote another letter and another and another. All went unanswered. Alex began to stake out the university, hoping to see her leave a class. But Lily had requested special permission to complete her studies from home. Robert, he told his assistant, I need you to find all possible information about Lily Smith. Where does she study? Who does she socialize with? What places does she frequent? Sir, just do it. For the first time in his life, Alex experienced what true despair felt like. All his money, all his power, all his connections were useless. He couldn't buy Lily's forgiveness. He couldn't use his influence to force her to listen to him. He spent his days without eating, without sleeping, obsessed with finding a way to talk to her. Dude, you look terrible, his best friend, Carlos, said during a business lunch. I'm fine. No, you're not fine. What's wrong? Alex hadn't spoken to anyone about Lily. Their relationship had been his best-kept secret, something private and special that he hadn't wanted to contaminate with his business world. I fell in love, he finally confessed. And that's a bad thing? It's complicated. Why? Alex told Carlos the whole story. How he had met Lily. How he had fallen in love with her. How he had lied about his identity. Alex, brother? Carlos looked at him in disbelief. How did you manage to keep that lie going for so long? Because she loved me for who I really was, not for what I have. But you lied to her about what you have. The money wasn't important in our relationship. Maybe not for you, but clearly for her it was. Or at least the lie about the money. Alex knew Carlos was right, but he couldn't accept it. Meanwhile, Lily spent her days locked in her room, alternating between sadness and anger. Her grandma Rose brought her Alex's letters, but she put them unopened in a box under her bed. Daughter, don't you think you should at least read what he has to say? No, Grandma. There's nothing he can say that will change what he did. Maybe you'd be surprised. I was surprised enough already. I don't need any more surprises. Rose sat on the bed next to her granddaughter. Lily, I've lived many years and seen a lot of true love and a lot of false love. And I'm going to tell you something. That man truly loves you. Grandma. Don't interrupt me. Eyes don't lie, my dear. I've seen how this young man looks at you. I've seen how he talks about you. Yes, he lied to you and that was wrong. But he did it because he was afraid of losing you. Alex took Lily's hand. Rose is right. I was so afraid that you would love me for my money instead of for who I really am. But you lied to me about who you really are. Lily looked him in the eyes. You're a millionaire, Alex. You live in a completely different world than mine. No, Lily. The man you fell in love with is me. Money doesn't change that. With you, I rediscovered who I really was, before money changed me. Rose nodded wisely. My dear, true love isn't found easily. And when you find it, you don't let it go out of pride. Lily looked at her grandmother, then at Alex, then at the floor. I don't know if I can trust you again. Alex knelt in front of her in the middle of the hospital waiting room. Lily Smith, he said, pulling a simple ring from his pocket. This ring isn't expensive. I designed it myself because I don't want you to accept me for what I have, but for what we are together. Lily gasped. Will you marry me? Alex continued. Not the millionaire, not the owner of the stores. Will you marry the man who fell in love with you at a coffee shop? The man who discovered that life is worth living when he's with you. Tears streamed down Lily's cheeks. All the pain, all the anger, all the betrayal she had felt during these weeks now mingled with the love she had never stopped feeling for him. Alex, she whispered. I know I hurt you. I know I don't deserve another chance. But I promise you, if you give me this second chance, I will never lie to you about anything again. Lily looked at her grandmother, who smiled tenderly. "What does your heart say, my dear?" Lily closed her eyes and listened to herself. Beneath all the pain, all the fear, all the humiliation, it was still there. The love, the true love she had felt for Alex from day one. "Yes," she whispered, opening her eyes. "Yes, I'm marrying you." Alex placed the simple ring on her finger and kissed her right there, in the hospital waiting room, while Rose applauded and other people looked at them with smiles. "I love you, Lily," Alex murmured against her lips. "I love you more than my own life." "I love you too," she replied, feeling complete for the first time in weeks. "But don't you ever lie to me again." "Never," he promised. "Never again." Now that's a twist. Did you expect Lily to say yes? What do you think about Alex's public apology? Let us know in the comments below. A year had passed since that night at the hospital when Lily finally forgave Alex and accepted his marriage proposal. 12 months full of changes, growth, and the building of a trust that was now stronger than ever. Lily and Alex were on the terrace of their hotel in Santa Monica, overlooking the Pacific Ocean. It was their third night of honeymoon, and the sunset painted the sky with orange and pink colors that reflected on the crystal-clear water. "I can't believe we're married," Lily murmured, leaning back in a chair by their suite's private pool, her laptop open as she worked on a design. Alex, who was next to her reading some documents, looked up and smiled. "Still working on our honeymoon? I'm just really excited about this project." Lily turned the screen to show him her work. "Look how the logo for our new line is coming along." On the screen was an elegant design that combined simplicity and sophistication. It was the logo for Style for All, the new clothing line they had decided to launch together. Elegant pieces, but at affordable prices for middle-class and working families. "It looks perfect." Alex leaned closer to see it better. "I love how you captured the essence of what we want to achieve." The wedding had been exactly as Lily had dreamed, intimate and full of love. They had married in the small church in her old neighborhood, where she had grown up, with the blessing of Father Michael who had seen her grow up. Rose had cried with joy as her granddaughter walked down the aisle on the arm of Mr. Johnson, the owner of the Golden Bean Cafe, who had agreed to act as her father figure. The guests had been a perfect mix of both worlds. Lily's university friends, cafe colleagues, neighborhood neighbors along with Alex's business partners, and company employees who had become genuinely important in their lives. "Do you know what I like most about this past year?" Lily asked, closing her laptop and turning completely to Alex. "What?" "That I fell in love with the real Alex Sterling. Not the character you played at the coffee shop, nor just the millionaire. I fell in love with the whole man, with all his facets." Alex took her hand and played with the wedding ring she wore. They had chosen simple, elegant rings, without ostentation, that perfectly represented their new life philosophy. "I fell even more in love with you when I saw how you manage our design studio," he replied. "Lily, I'm so proud of what you've achieved." And he had reasons to be. Lily had established Lily Designs 6 months after their reconciliation, and since then it had prospered impressively. Her studio had specialized in helping small businesses and entrepreneurs create professional visual identities without breaking the bank. Her first clients had been recommendations from neighborhood friends, but soon her reputation grew. Dona Esperanza's bakery, the Garcia brothers' mechanical workshop, Jamili's hair salon, all now sported logos and graphic material designed by Lily. "Do you regret insisting on not using my money for the studio?" Alex asked with genuine curiosity. "Not at all," Lily was categorical. "I needed to prove to myself that I could achieve it on my own merits, and I needed you to see that I wasn't marrying you for your money." "I never doubted that." "I know, but I needed to be sure." Alex's transformation had also been remarkable. After implementing the new inclusion policies in all elite thread stores, the company had not only improved its reputation but had also increased its sales. It turns out that when you treat all customers well, all customers want to return. "Did you hear what happened to Tiffany?" Lily asked, breaking the silence. "Yes," Carlos told me. "Apparently she's working in a shopping mall in San Diego, and I heard she's attending therapy." Lily nodded thoughtfully. I'm glad to hear about the therapy. I hope she finds the peace she needs. You don't resent her? At first, yes, Lily was honest. But then I understood that her attitude toward me came from her own pain and insecurities. We all carry something, don't we? Alex looked at her with admiration. Lily's capacity to forgive, to understand people beyond their actions, was one of the things he loved most about her. Lily's phone rang. It was a WhatsApp message from her Grandma Rose. My dears, I miss you so much. Enjoy your honeymoon. Everything's good here. Mr. Johnson invited me to dinner tomorrow. I think he likes me. Haha. Love you. Your grandma's conquering hearts? Alex laughed, reading the message over Lily's shoulder. She deserves it. After taking care of me all her life, it's time for someone to take care of her. Rose had moved to a more comfortable apartment in a better neighborhood, but not too far from her old one. Alex had insisted on helping with the move, and Rose had finally accepted, telling him, well, if you're going to be my grandson-in-law, you'd better get used to helping the family. What are you thinking about? Alex asked, noticing Lily had gone quiet. How strange life is. Lily snuggled against him. A year ago, I thought my world had ended when I discovered the truth about you. And it turns out it was the beginning of the best part of my life. Me too. Before I met you, I had success, but I had no purpose. Now I feel like every day is worthwhile. They stayed in silence, listening to the sound of the waves and feeling the Santa Monica breeze. In the distance, they could see the twinkling lights of the pier. Alex, Lily said softly, you know what the best part of all this is? What? Lily sat up to look him in the eyes. That I fell in love with the man I met at that coffee shop, not the businessman, and it turns out they're the same person. Alex felt his heart fill with a happiness so profound it almost hurt. And I fell in love with a woman who saw me as an ordinary person, and loved me for that, but it turns out you're far more extraordinary than either of us imagined. They kissed under the California stars with the sound of the ocean as background music. It was a kiss that tasted of new beginnings, shared dreams, a future built on the solid foundation of true love. When they parted, Lily took Alex's hand and placed it over his heart. You feel that? Your heart? It beats for you, and it will beat for you every day of my life. Alex closed his eyes and smiled. Mine too. They stayed embraced until the sun had completely set on the Pacific horizon, painting the sky a deep blue sprinkled with stars. It was the perfect end to a perfect day in a life that, finally, was perfect for both of them. The next day they would return to Portland to officially begin their life as husband and wife. Lily would have to attend to her clients at the studio, and Alex would have to manage the expansion of Style for All to other cities, but all that could wait. For now, they had love, they had forgiveness, they had rebuilt trust, and they had a whole life ahead of them to prove to each other that some lies, when they come from the fear of losing the one you love, can be forgiven, and that true love, when it's real, always finds a way to triumph. What a journey! What was your favorite part of Lily and Alex's story? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to share this video with someone who needs to hear a story of true love and forgiveness.